Hello, guys. Make sure you guys are liking, following, sharing, and if anybody adds you guys, make sure you guys add them back. Today we're going to talk about something pretty interesting, so stay tuned. Stay tuned, guys, because it's going to be fun. Oh, man. Mhm. I don't really know how to use this stuff, so please. Let's see here. Hello, Dorian. Hello, True North, Angel Lee. Go ahead and like, follow, share. Make sure you guys are sending those hearts. Join the fan club if you can, or just even if you're not gonna stay, just help a friend out and pump this thing up. Maybe it's helpful for somebody. And anybody that you guys follow from the group, make sure that you guys follow back. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of time to log on. Show me them lesbian fingers. Let's see here. Make sure you guys are liking, following, sharing, all that good stuff, please. Let's see. Hello, John. How's it going? Sabret LLC. How's it going? Make sure you guys are liking, following, sharing. Help me reach my goal, and I'll follow you guys as you guys are popping up and whatnot. Hello, Kelly. And if you can help a girl out and share this, please, I would really appreciate it. I'll return the favor for sure. Today we're going to talk about numerology, so this should be interesting, right? Let me see here. I'm gonna wait a little bit because I want some specific people to come on in here. Because you know what, guys? It's interesting to talk about numerology, right? And I know you guys see it everywhere, so that's why we're going to talk about it. Make sure you guys are sharing. Hello, Aaron. How's it going? There's a lot of things going on right now, right? Make sure you guys are liking, following, sharing. I will definitely join your guys' live as I'm going through the day and make sure that I return the favor and support you guys as well. So we've been talking a lot about that's Pickles, guys. If you guys have seen my live, Pickles likes to be Pickles, and yeah, he tends to be Pickles, and he's like little kid, right? He'll uh he'll pick the perfect time to cause chaos. How's everybody doing this morning? Did you guys party yesterday? Are you guys hungover? Hopefully not. I can't do drinking anymore because, in all honesty, like since I never really was a drinker, now that I try to be, it's not cool because the hangover is real. Oh, let's see here. Give me a second. I'm gonna pause this real quick. Hello, Deborah the Zebra, Marissa. So today we're going to talk about numerology. We've been talking about mother wounds. We talked about what else did we talk about aside from mother wounds? We talked about what else? Get this a little bit brighter for you. There we go. And then we also talked about how we tend to be going through changes and people end up judging us all the time, right? Make sure you guys are liking, following, sharing. And then we also talk about what does it mean to like let people live and let live, right? Because we're all so invested in everybody else's life and their mamas that we aren't even enjoying our own lives half the time because we're worried about what the neighbor is doing. And you know what, guys? Why you gotta be so invested in other people's lives when you already got this awesome life going on? You're already in this wild roller coaster. You got your own drama going on. Don't be carrying other people's dramas. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not good for you guys. And a lot of our issues, a lot of our health problems are because we're too stressed. Do you guys know that the broken heart syndrome is actually a true thing and you can actually die from a broken heart? But you didn't know that? No, I'm kidding. I hope you guys did. But apparently there's like a change in the beat and the lining of the muscles of the heart start detaching. And yeah, people actually feel pain physically. It's really crazy. Make sure you guys are liking, following, sharing. And today we're going to talk about numerology, okay? And the art of like how it combines when you're releasing old patterns or when you're trying to change old ways, right? Um, and how does that come with well everything in the universe vibrates at a frequency, right? Including numbers. Right now that things that we thought were not real or not necessarily not real, but things that we thought were maybe a little too far fetched are coming out to light. And ironically, it's happening when we have all this new technology, when we have AI, when it's a little bit hard to determine what's real and what's not, right? But you know what's real, right? Why are you why are you why are you acting so brand new? Because you and I both know that there's real shit going on. And that's why you're watching this because you're a little intrigued that maybe I said something that probably stirred a little bit of curiosity. Um, and how is that so? Well, numerology, what it does is that it teaches us that numbers aren't just like a mathematical concept. I'm horrible at math, to be honest. I passed because, thanks to my friend Vivian Mejia, if you're watching, thank you so much. I got a C because I was copying off of her. If it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't have. That was like the lowest grade I got. But I always thought math wasn't necessarily necessary. It is, I guess. Good thing we have calculators now. Ironically, even though I was bad at math, I was really intrigued with numerology. Okay. Hello, fellow. Hey, little fellow. Hello. And well, they're like energetic tools, okay? And they're like signatures. So I don't know if it happens to you, but you see a lot of like sequences, right? Guys, if you guys are logging in, please help your homie out and like, follow, share. Um, I'm creating also a Discord group so that you guys can all get together and share your perspectives because you know what? If you still think that you are in a world where only your perspective matters, then you are horribly wrong and you're going to be setting yourself up for disappointment, let me tell you. Um, so this is just, if you're like also having a hard time, this is just a new idea, new options for you and how to carry or how to think about your situations. I'm not telling you what to believe in. I'm not trying to make you do anything. I'm just letting you know that you do have options and that if you feel like it's the end of the world, it's not. You should actually be proud of the downfalls because look at how far you got. This week I heard God didn't get you this far to get for you to get this far. So if you're a religious person, that should resonate. Even if you're not. I'm not somebody that goes to church, but I am very much a believer of God. And we can all coexist. Doesn't need to be separations just because we have different practices. Um, well, numerology, guys, not only is it an energetic signature, but it is also like a memory, or it carries like a memory or a momentum, pretty much. And when you keep repeating the same patterns in life, well, it becomes, let's say, for example, like toxic relationships, financial cycles, self sabotage. We tend to do that, right? Because we think we found the one. We were actually talking about that yesterday. When somebody comes into your life, and 922, look, when somebody comes into your life and they're a little too intense, and I'm going to tell you because I was that intense person, they just want you they want to have a hold on you. And they want to leave you wondering why. Because that feeling that you get afterwards, it's not necessarily a feeling of like, oh wow, this person is great. No, it's a feeling of what the fuck. And that's the whole point of it. Because it keeps you wondering, keeps you curious, and it keeps you more intrigued, and then it keeps you pulling back to that same habit, right? Well, in numerology, it suggests that these patterns are actually encoded in the operation or the vibration that you're operating. And until you shift that frequency, well, the same experiences are going to keep showing up, guys. And it's so easy to say things than to do them. And I can tell you that because some of the things that I say may sound pretty like mind blowing. I sometimes surprise myself, I'm not going to lie, because sometimes it doesn't feel like I'm even saying things myself. Like it just feels like something else is talking for me, right? Sounds crazy. I don't care. But you can make changes. And it starts by insignificant changes, truthfully. It starts by small changes. It starts by breaking old habits. Let's say, for example, every morning you wake up and you do the same routine, right? Wake up, you check your phone, then you get up for a shower, or whatever it is that you do. Why don't you switch it up a little bit? Why don't you wait to check your phone until you're done getting ready? Why are you going to ruin your morning before you even get up from bed? Or let's say you want to go to the gym, but you can't find the time to go. I know it's really hard to go. I was paying for a gym membership for over 2 years and I never went. Let me tell you. Guys, help me out here. Go ahead and like, follow, share, help me reach my goal. I post, I haven't recently because these lives have been going a little bit longer than I expected. But it's a good thing always because I've met great people here, and all I want for you guys is to. I'm gonna be cringe for you guys, so you guys don't feel embarrassed to do so, and so that hopefully it gives you that push that you need, or that little motivation that you need to speak up. Because when we don't speak up, we create an environment that we're experiencing right now. How are we so baffled with everything that's going on in our politics and our government when we allow it at home, guys? How are you going to be so angered by, I mean, yes, you should be angered by the children, but then your child at home doesn't see that rage in you when they ask for help. I'm going to tell you one thing. Being a victim, the moment that you come up to your parents and you say something, you're already expecting that they're not going to believe you. And it is heartbreaking when the people that are supposed to take care of you do the opposite. And I'm going to tell you that a situation like that is going to expose everybody's true colors, because something like that shouldn't be so hard to decide, right? Or to believe in. Why would a kid have all this knowledge, or why would a kid talk about these things? I mean, it's already hard enough to say it out loud and then to be judged by it. That's insane. That's crazy. If you guys have seen Paris, the comedian, yeah, she's cool. You guys should watch. Guys, if you guys are joining in, welcome in. My name is Rocio. This is my little humble space where you guys can be yourselves. I don't take any bullshit. And you shouldn't either. If it doesn't feel right, it's not a fart. It's your intuition trying to tell you to run. And you should. Because most of the time that we get disappointed in somebody's actions, it's mainly because we already knew. We already saw them coming and we still stayed. So are you really disappointed in this person? Are you really disappointed in what they did to you? Or are you disappointed in the fact that you knew they were going to do something and then they didn't? Think about it, guys. And who told you that you didn't, that you couldn't, coulda, woulda, shoulda? Who told you that you were not allowed to make a decision for yourself? Or what's keeping you in the place that you're in right now? Is it the fear of asking for help? Is it the fear of what people are going to think? Because let me tell you, people are always going to disagree with what you have to say, with what you have to do. So, or if you're already in the shithole, what worse can happen? How worse can it get? Think about it, guys. That's what I did. I mean, fuck it. Fuck it. I just realized that I don't even have a car right now. And here I was, living the dream in my Q60 and my Jeep, and now it's like, the car has no gas. Well, in numerology, the number 9 is one of the most spiritual significant numbers, guys. That when it comes to endings and transformation, 9 is actually the completion and the closure of that shedding of what no longer serves you. And it's no coincidence that nine's like a personal year, or calculated by like the birth month and day and then the year. It's like everything falling apart becomes, because it actually turns into the universe kind of like clearing your path, clearing the slate for you, right? So when your energy, or when you're at the in year 9, you're resisting the release, or resisting all that, pretty much just prolongs the cycle and you continue in the same things. And the lesson in this is that you need to surrender with intention, not with defeat. You shouldn't feel disappointed because you failed. You should be proud because you experienced it. You should be proud because you felt that you allowed yourself to go through this. And regardless of what people say, you're never going to make anybody happy. At the end of the day, you need to understand that those people don't feed you, those people don't deal with the consequences for you. And those people after they see you, they move on with their lives, and they also have their own shit going on, which is why they gave the opinion that they gave. Any negativity directed at you has nothing to do with you, it has to do with unhealed trauma directed or reflected onto you, projected onto you. We're just mirrors of our own reflections in other people. That's why you find opposites attract, right? Because you want what is different. You want something that you don't want to be stuck with your same habits and then have to marry them too. Right? Am I right? Hello, guys. If you guys are just logging in, please help a homie out and twerk with me in the season of twerking. Hey, guys, tomorrow's going to be the third month of 2026. And we're talking about numerology, which 9 is divisible by 3, right? Or vice versa, or whatever. And 9 is a new beginning. So you should be listening to this, because if you feel like everything has just been fucking weird lately or too coincidental, well, it's not coincidence, my friend. It is meant to be. And you need to embrace it, because the more you resist it, the longer it's taking for you to get to your true purpose. And let me tell you, we all have a purpose. That's why you go through the situations you go through, because You're supposed to fall down. The more you fall, the more you know. And the more knowledge is power. So think about it, guys. You guys are in a in a timeline where everything that you want, everything that you need is right at your disposal. You just need to make some changes within yourself, and it's scary as fuck. I know. I know that you're scared to lose people that you work so hard to have in your life. But maybe that's what's supposed to happen. I mean, there's some people that are not meant to stay. And what are you so scared of? How many times were you scared to make a decision and you made it and look at how far you got? Because don't get me wrong, you're gonna have decisions that you're gonna make that are gonna be really transformational. You're really gonna see the change. And that's all I want for you guys. I want you guys to trust your intuition. Even guys have intuition. But guys take a little bit longer because guys have, unfortunately, they carry the burden of having to be the strong ones. And the less strong you are, or the less you show your emotions, the more strong you are. Well, you know what? Not in my book. You can be all muscular you want. But if you can't admit when you're wrong, well, then what good does that do you? Sometimes you can break a person with words, and let me tell you, I have done that before, and I'm not proud of that. But it is an eye opener to become all those versions. I used to get a lot that I looked like that that I looked like certain people. I was always the typical lesbian. I was always the one. I even had this guy that I work with. We even had the same classes. I had little brothers everywhere, man. It was crazy. Um, but why is that? Because well, we're all a reflection, guys. The things that we hate about other people are usually the things that we are too insecure about ourselves, or it's just like acceptance that you never received, or something that you denied yourself, or said that you didn't deserve to experience. And who said that? Under who told you so I can go find them? Because that's nonsense. You shouldn't be feeling that way. And I don't want you guys to feel that way. I want you guys to always be happy because you know what? All the things that are happening to you are because you set them up for yourself, or because you wanted to learn something about this. And you have to take all these things as lessons. They're not downfall. They're only toughening up your skin so that when you find somebody in the same situation, 555, that's crazy. So when you find yourself in the same, you find somebody in the same situation you once were, you know how to show up for them because you know what you needed at that time. And it's crazy because sometimes whenever people come up into our lives or when we're having a bad situation, we don't want it, at least I don't want anybody around. I don't want people to see me when I'm crying, when I'm at my worst. I just want to go and like dwell in my misery and curl up in my bed and just loathe myself so that I can get up and say, "What the fuck are you doing, Rocio? Like, motherfuckers are over there enjoying life while you're over here rotting away. What the fuck is that? Get your shit together. You're a badass bitch." Because truthfully, I denied myself a lot of those conversations. I always try to fill my loneliness with useless and meaningless friendships that only left me emptier. I always questioned myself or my self worth even more because I was like, well, no wonder it was so easy for this hoe to leave me if my friends are going to do the same to me. But you know what? It wasn't my friend's fault. It was my fault because I knew and I stayed and I knew not to do those things and I still did. So we need to stop blaming other people for our decisions. Nobody put a gun in our head. We were just too weak to say no. And unfortunately, that comes from further down than we even understand, guys. Because it's not that you are a pushover, but you were conditioned to be. You were conditioned to be a pushover before you even had the chance to pick to not be a pushover. Think about it. Why do we do those things? Why do we do those things to ourselves? Why do we allow these things to happen when we know very well, but then we don't because we don't do the things we're supposed to, right? And who are we trying to fool? Because the only person that stays at a worse situation is you. Hey, Rebecca, how's it going? Finally, girl. I am talking about numerology. We're talking about numerology and how actually the number nine, ironically, would you look at that? I'm gonna start a little bit again because Rebecca and I were discussing about the topic that I was gonna discuss today, and that she wanted to know more about. Since last night we were talking with Ashley, she jumped on and she mentioned something pretty interesting. We were talking about incubus, succubus, how people use their body to sometimes take away energy from you, right? And there were several things that happened in this encounter with Ashley that was very significant, ironically. Mind you, this was a situation in December. I'm not going to give it any details because that's not my place. But the whole point was that this person was about to be love bombing, I guess. Which I didn't see those red flags, but I can see now how they can be because I was a little like that. But I was a lot like that. But ironically, the most significant moments that she remembers were in threes. Her encounter was December 9th. The number 12 is divisible by 3. Um, Requests were by threes. He messaged her 24/7 for 3 days straight. So it was 24/3. And then the times that he mentioned that he wanted to see her was, or that he wanted something from her, was at 11:33 and at 3 a.m. And we were talking about numerology, right? Well, um, numerology is pretty much like a mirror of your inner blueprint. Blueprint. So everything vibrates at a frequency, right? Including numbers. They're not just mathematical. They are also signatures or energetic signatures, right? So they also carry like memory or momentum. And when we're repeating the same patterns, well, when we continue to repeat the same toxic patterns, the same choose decisions in life, um, numerology is pretty much what comes here to suggest you that these patterns are actually encoded in the vibration that you're opening from. Kind of like the intention that you're coming from, right? And until you make little changes or until you start making those changes, you're not going to see any changes within your surroundings, right? And in numerology, actually, get this, Rebecca, the nine cycle. What is the nine cycle? Well, it's the great releaser, right? In numerology, guys, the number nine is the most spiritually significant number when it comes to like endings and transformation. So why is that? Because the nine represents completion, it represents closure, it represents the shedding of what no longer is or what no longer serves you. And it's no coincidence, guys, that the number nine is a personal year because it's calculated by your birth date, the month, the day, and the year. Um, and it pretty much feels like everything around you is just going to shit, right? It's falling away, and it's really not something bad. It's actually good because the universe is cleaning everything out for you guys. They're doing the in-house cleaning for you, spring cleaning. So when you're in the number or you're in the nine energy, you're releasing this like you're releasing this cycle. So when you're resisting it, it just prolongs your success or it prolongs your cycle to end or to close it. The number nine is actually a lesson to surrender, to to surrender with intention. And it's not with defeat, guys. Hello, Chale. Where are you from? I want to know where you're from. So, what are patterns, or how are patterns like frequency? Well, patterns are California. That's not bad. That's close by. I would say San Diego area. And wasn't the last year, or it was last year that it was a 9 year? I think it was. I want to say it was. L.A. See, close but not yet quite close. You know, I've always. Have you gone to the Museum of Death in L.A.? It is actually pretty cool, guys. You should check it out. I have this shirt that I got there once. They have paintings from John Wayne Gacy. They have a little exhibit on that one guy that was a punk guy or whatever. That he ate like poop in his concerts or something like that. I've been intrigued too, but haven't. You should honestly. It's really interesting. Um, the first time I went, I spent quite some time there because I was seeing all the videos. They have really cool pictures. And then the second time I went, I kind of like rushed through it because I had already been there. But I'm gonna say the damn like gift shop is badass. They have pretty cool shirts. And I've always wanted to go to like underground scenes and stuff, but I've never. Whenever I go to LA, it's just like the parking stresses me out, so I just stay in my hotel and wherever it is I'm gonna go. One time I went to a concert of this band, No Vacation, and mind you, they're like around my age, right? But then I felt so old because it was a lot of like kids that looked younger than me, and I had never felt so old in my life, honestly. It was a really. I had this whole weekend planned out. I didn't even stay at the concert for 20 minutes. Sucks. I was so excited to. But you're so lucky to live in LA. LA is pretty interesting. There's always something to do, I'm guessing, right? And then you get to see like you're like right in the middle of everything, you know. So patterns are not just like songs that are stuck in repeat, right? They're pretty much it starts at a four energy, which is a rigid structure. That sounds like too many people. Like so it is, it does, yeah. Um there are areas in LA cuz I like buildings. So I just want to go and roam around buildings, you know. I don't know what it is for me. Is that like a thing? I'm not like in like sexually attracted to buildings. I just really like to. I stayed at the. It was in a hotel in downtown LA, but honestly, like the bathroom was just like if I were to ever do something crazy, that's the tub I want to do it in, because that bathroom just was so inviting. You know, I just wanted to drown myself in that tub. It's weird, but even like it was just so white, and then the floors were like black and white. I just looked out of a movie. I loved it. It was the. It starts with the B. Honestly, like it was crazy. Those it looked like the freaking Shining. I swear, it was the B hotel. It is. Oh, here it is. The Baltimore in LA. Oh my god, that building is just insane. Like even when you go into the reception area, you're like, where am I? Yes, I do honestly. Honestly, I have a thing for like buildings. Like I can stay in a building and admire every fucking room for hours. I just want to have like dramatic scenes from The Shining, like the hallways. It was the, you know, I'm getting chills. It was insane. It was. I love architecture. I think that's one of the reasons why I would love to go to Europe because of the architecture over there, especially Spain. I don't know if it's because they called me Españolita or something, but Spain, I heard, is a really good place to be if you're gay, especially a lesbiana, a lesbican. Um, so the four energy is a rigid structure, guys. It's like the fear, limitation, and it's actually something that was taught to you at your childhood. And it is, or not necessarily childhood, but it's like through repeated trauma, right? Numerology technically would say that if you're like a life in if you're that if your life path, I think I do too, but it has to be older ones where there was actually character. Yeah, I like Cecil Hotel is one of the hotels that I want to go check out. I know the rooms are very ugly and it probably smells like pee, but that room has a lot of history, especially because Richard Ramirez was in there. And I don't know. I hope you have all. I hope you do too, and be safe in LA because I heard it could be pretty crazy in there too. I saw some bad stuff there, so you be safe. You take that puppy out for a ride and give him a bunch of treats and a bunch of cuddles. Thank you for jumping in. I appreciate you. Um, thank you. So pretty much in numerology, if you say that if your life path, let's say your life path of expression or your soul urge numbers, um, they carry like a heavy 4 or 8 energy. Without spiritual balance, you're unconsciously keep recreating the same environment of reconstruction or overwork so that you can can feel safe, or it's as a way of feeling safe, right? And when you become conscious, you know, Linda, she was dyeing her hair. I was like, Mamas, I need you here. She's probably doing her hair and tapping away. um, she was in the shower, guys. So pretty much when you're conscious, you stop being a passenger, and then you start reacting and realizing that you're in this energy or frequency, right? And how does it work with you releasing all the old patterns? Well, let's put it this way: the master numbers that are coming up as you awaken, or the awakening codes, it pretty much is when your spiritual awakening starts, right? And you start getting like old patterns, when you start to realize that no means no, and you start noticing the 1111, the 22, or the 33 repeatedly, right? That's like constant for me. Whenever I look at the watch, it's either 9:44, 11:11, blah 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 blah. And I have like, there was for a while. I'm gonna have to post all these because before all this started, my Jeep would actually have, every time I looked at my damn mileage, it was always frequencies. Like it was always synchronized, whether it was the weather with the number of miles, whether it was the miles with the remaining miles left. It was insane. But the Jeep and the Infinity were always fucking syncing with their damn numerologies, their damn synchronicities, right? Um, and they don't like reduce it to a single digit. Why? Because they carry an elevated frequency, right? So seeing them as is often like a signal that you're being called to operate at a higher frequency or a higher level of frequency. Um, so it's pretty much calling you and telling you to wake the fuck up because you've already outgrown this frequency and this frequency is no longer resonating you. And that's a way of your body, or these are the signs that you had already set yourself up in order to tell yourself that you're ready to move to the next step. You're ready to start changing, um, not just your old habits, but you start changing your energetic address. So how does it work with releasing? Well, when you start becoming intentional, let's put it that way. You start to calculate like your personal year number. You start to be more intrigued when it comes to, like, I don't know, you sit, the way that you can do it, I guess, is to start calculating your numbers, your date of birth, your year. You guys have heard that your, what is it called, your linear life can be determined by the time that you were born, the date, and what was the other one? The time, the date, and, well, the birth year, obviously. And what was that number that we were talking about? We were talking about number three. I've been seeing a lot of, well, the number three has just been coming up in a lot of places for me, and it's been mentioned multiple times along with the color green. Um, but it's like pretty much an intentional practice. Like you start to calculate everything. You start to sit with with what you're asking or what's asking you to release or to build, and you start working on the days that add up with nine, right? Like the 9th, the 18th, the 27th of any month. That's crazy. I started this on the 27th, and this is like me just realizing this. I was today years old. Um, and it uses like anything, everything as an energetic support uh, for the ritual of release that you're doing, right? Let's say you're journaling, you're cord cutting, your meditation, or whatever it is that you're doing in order to release this old identity. Um, and on the day one, you're supposed to plant new intentions. That's how you work with numerology, I guess. Number one is the number of new beginnings. So you have one, two, three, four. Damn, girl, you've already ascended to four. Um, so this is like your new beginning of self leadership or your original thoughts, I guess. Uh, so it doesn't necessarily just predict. It doesn't predict your fate. You're not gonna do numerology to know what you're gonna be experiencing in life and then just go out through life about that. No, it's your pattern. Once you see your pattern clearly, you have the most powerful tool available to you guys. You realize that being conscious is a choice. And that's what I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time. You can choose a different number, a different frequency, a different story. The old pattern is not going to die dramatically. It simply loses its energy because you stop feeling it. You stop focusing on it. And you're resonating at a higher level. So, this spiritual work is to not force your breakthrough, it's to outgrowing your loop. It's to learn from your mistakes and to stop focusing on the old patterns so that you can let new ideas or new things grow. And that's why you start seeing different numbers. Now we got to understand hate doesn't take us anywhere. Let's be honest. Mine is always surrounding the theme of support, and that means a lot to me right now. Yes. And you know what's crazy because we were just talking about this, you know? Um we were just talking about how everything that happened from when I started this was kind of like in situations where you guys were also going through a moment of saying, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna stop this. And I mean, the day that Linda, Quinn, and I were here at the house, you know, like that's I don't know if you heard, but we realized that I was 5'4", Quentin was 5'5", and then Linda was 5'6", if I'm not mistaken. And then we each had gone through difficult situations in in chronological order, which was um it was Linda first, and then myself, and then Quentin. And Quentin is barely like getting out of it. And in a sense, like we all kind of like got together when we're all going through this like moment of releasing old habits and realizing that everything that we mentioned at one point was true. Um, and it makes me wonder, like, shit, like, no wonder I didn't do this all this time. Because technically, I've been, the 3 years ago is when I got the idea of wanting to do my own thing. When I got the little bug of like, fuck this, I want to work for myself. Year two was the year that I planned a lot, and this was gonna be the third year, and this was the year that I was like, and it like the transformation or the decisions came towards like within the last 3 months of the year. which was, as I was getting out of it, was around September or October, and it happened the same way for Linda and for Quentin. So everything happens for a reason. You're The more conscious you are, the more consciousness you're gonna attract. Um, and you gotta read your body or learn how your body reacts, because your body is nothing but a little antenna that reacts to all the frequency around you, right? Um, we sometimes mistake it with safety because the fear is all we know. But if it's something that resonates a lot, you gotta look at everything around you and say why. And then if it is something bad, then you gotta freaking do a limpia right away. Um, it's crazy because I've been doing those before my life, but it's a little bit weird because whenever I get them on, they start crackling hard. They like yesterday one popped almost in my face. Um, did you have a question about the numerology, Rebecca, or you should? You should because you notice like when my dog passed. I don't know if I had mentioned to you guys, but before I started doing this, my dog passed away. My dog Pulga, and I haven't posted about her because I've been wanting to do like something meaningful. Ironically, this dog wasn't just any other dog. Um, I got her when she was little. She was the only one that had like longer hair than the rest because they were all mutts. My dog was She was a wanted bitch, okay? She was a Catahoula mix. If you know what Catahoula mix are, they're dogs that originate from Louisiana. They're used as hunting dogs, and their coat is kind of like the the healer. It's like kind of like pepper with like spots and brown, but she looks more like a Labrador. Like she has that square snout, and some of them are prone to be deaf due to the multiple inbreeding. Just the fact of how much they're coming up, it's funny that when I started asking to connect with. Yes. And that's when you started to change your frequency. Point is that I brought Peanut from North Carolina, and Peanut had been through it all. And she gave me a few litters, and from those litters, Pulga, which her name was Carmelita before, was the most wanted pup because she was the gorgeous one. She was the cutest one of the litter because she was chunky, she was hairy. But when she got older, she yes, mine came in dogs because ironically Hecate always has dogs and I always had dogs around me, too many at times. Um, well, Pulga ended up being one of my aunt's dogs that she ended up being abandoned. I think I have a picture of her here. Um, and when I went to go get her, guys, she was surviving off of like tortillas and shit. Um, Sorry, this is Pulga. This is when I got her, guys. You see how she was all skinny and ugly on the top? And then in less than a month, that's how she ended up looking, and she got only more gorgeous as time went on. And then this is her brother from the same litter. So as you can see, that's Peanut on the bottom. So as you can see, like they don't look anything alike, right? So this dog, guys, like Peanut, the one that's on the bottom. Let me see if I have a picture of her. She's my mama. She's the one that I brought over there, and I was like, you know what? She was little. That's Peanut, and that's how she was. Like she was blind from one eye and whatnot. She was like a Labrador mix or whatever. But Pulga just had this eyes of like she was an empath. When somebody was gonna get sick, when somebody was having a bad day, she would go and she would put her paw on you. It took me about a year to get Pulga to get close to me because she was scared of people, especially men, and she was terrified of the belt. So I'm pretty sure she got abused a lot. Um, I remember my aunt would take her dog food, and the guy would be like, "Oh no, I'll give it to him," but I doubt he would. So, long story short, she actually started to be part of my little clan when all my downfalls started, when like my worst time of my life started. And she lived with me for almost 15 years. She was born on Dia del Niño, which is like April something, in 2015, July 8th, I think. April 9th? I don't remember. She was born in April, I'm sorry, of 2015. So, 13, sorry, 13. So when she started living with me, it was in 2015, and she was already old, right? Guys, she was the sweetest dog ever. It took a long time for her to get close to me, but eventually she would not get at like away from me, you know. So when I had Shelby, Shelby was like um this dog that I got at the Humane Society, and she had the longest eyelashes. She was so gorgeous. She was a little hoe too, and she would bring me little friends over and whatnot. But one time when I came home, she was dead in my backyard, and Pulga was so sad. She was just there like consoling me. She was just like crying with me. Long story short, I always ended up with a bunch of dogs after a breakup, right? So I had this Doberman and I had her. Well, the Doberman ended up biting her because there was like too many females at one point, and I had to bring her inside. It was like a Sunday, fucking 102 degrees outside. I'm over here chasing her halfway down the street because when I tried to put her in the car, she ran away. She had this big old slice right here that wasn't even bleeding because it was just muscle. Then I had to cure her thing. It was disgusting, but it closed. It looked like salami or like something because it was like the little thingies, the stitches. Long story short, Pulga was there with me through the thick and thin, and she always loved me, no matter how mean I was at times and how much I would yell because I was so frustrated. She saw me through my worst, my best, and anytime that I was crying, she was there. And she was just one of a kind. I don't even know how to explain it. So much that, ironically, the last week that she was here with me, um, I kept telling, like, I kept saying, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry, Pulga. Like, I'm so grateful that you're in my life because you have been with me through so much. And, like, I love you, mamas. And I kept telling her. And that morning before, um, thank you, Rebecca. Morning before, I remember going up to her and I kissed her and she was laying down because she always, like, laid down and she was, like, lazy. You couldn't get her to move from the bed. She was huge as fuck and you couldn't get her to move. She thought she was a chihuahua or a lap dog. But, I don't know. She was just so sweet. Point is that she ended up dying the next day. Like at 3 in the morning, we wake up 3 in the morning. I woke up at 3:40 something. Linda was calling my name from the kitchen, and she was just there, laying in the kitchen. There was nothing wrong with her. Nothing. No medical issues. She was fine the next day. We were playing. Like there was no signs, guys, where I could have said she ate this. Like she was fine. I think it was just age, but so much had happened to me that year. She died in December. um I want to say it's like around December 9th or something like that, towards the beginning of December, but she died in December, which is once again divisible by 3 and 9. And when I went to go, at the time I didn't have the money to go cremate her, but my mother-in-law made it happen, thankfully, and I was able to do it. So I kept a little bit of her hair and we took her to get cremated. And when we went to go pick her up a week later, this song by Natalia Lafourcade called Hasta la Raíz. If you guys haven't heard it, I'm gonna send it to you guys because you guys need to listen to it. And for me, it was a very important song because it talks about. This is a song that I didn't know. I actually found out after I told my mom about the whole situation that that song, Natalia Lafourcade wrote it for herself, and it's kind of like it talks about how No matter where she goes, she has like very present this person, which is herself or where she comes from, right? She's from Veracruz, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and I don't know, like it just I started bawling my eyes out because it just reminded me of what Pulga was. Pulga survived so much. I mean, at one point she had a litter of puppies with nothing to eat, but and she was hella skinny and she still haven't handled, you know. When I went to go get her, I remember she was so scared, but she jumped in the car right away. And she had never been around cats, never in her life. I know for a fact that she fed off of cats and she knows how to catch pigeons. But she came into my house and she was so respectful with my cats, like everything. She was so grateful. I had never experienced a dog being grateful. And and yeah, like it's crazy because my mom always says that when somebody has bad juju on you or when somebody wants to cause some sort of hurt on you, your dogs are the ones that take the hurt. Um, my mom's dogs had one of her dogs had seizures, and ironically, I've had many pets that I have had for so long, and they just go with no reason, and it's usually during bad times. So, do I believe that pets are your alebrijes or like your spirit guides? Yes, I do. And I think that the pets that you keep around talk a lot about the ancestors that you have and your ancestors because if you think about it, in my culture, you have alebrijes whenever you go to the other world. And you have your ancestors that are always taking care of you that come down to visit on Dia de Muertos, right? I'm sure you guys have all seen Coco. And for me, Pulga was that dog. And I have also read that your dogs are your children that you were supposed to have and you didn't have. And it seems like it is because all my pets are very fucking brats. I never liked cats. I used to like cats, but then one cat scratched my nose and I was mad. I actually ended up throwing a cat over the roof when I was like 7. That's very dramatic. Dramatic twist, but you know what? She didn't want to get in the bucket. And then I felt really horrible about it because how could I have done that? And I cried for nights. And that was the only time that I ever was able to do it. I mean, the cat was kind of little. Months later passed by, and then I was like, "Hey, cat." I thought that was a cat that came by to tell me that she came back and that she forgave me, but it wasn't. And then my uncle used to sing this song for me, making fun of me about the damn cat. But I never had a cat because cats were just not. I was always a dog person, you know. Why? Because dogs are dependent on you, and I needed somebody to depend on me. So what happened? Well, I ended up getting a cat, and when I got the cat, I didn't think that my life was going to change so drastically because the cat is in love with me, and now I don't see myself without him. And then this little cat Figaro, this is how she came to me, guys. I just love showing my pets because they're my pets. Shelby, guys, you see, she's a little mama's. This is how I got Figaros. Oh wait, I don't know if you can see her, but she was all tiny, and that's actually her being a little bit bigger because um she was stuck in a car. I had my baby Chico. He passed away the year I found out I was pregnant. Before I found out, we found out he had cancer. And yes, honestly, cats are probably the most ancient. animals. If I'm not mistaken, in Europe they respect them a lot. Like they have them roaming around everywhere, and I didn't understand why. But cats have a way of like getting to you. They are not as independent as I thought they were. They're just very selective, and they're very. I like their personality because they don't just give away their energy to anyone, and that's how we should be. Yes, he did, and he probably felt safe that in the place that you were at right now, that he was like, okay, I can do this. I didn't know what the cat when a cat finds you, what do they call it? Like the whatever nonsense for the cat something. Um but I remember it was something. Point is that cats are something else. They're gonna choose you. Who's Rubio 2028? Is he a Republican? I don't know about Republican. At this point, I'm gonna vote for myself. Chio for president. The truth you need to hear, but you denied yourself all these years. Q was talking yesterday about the readings. Yes. And not only that, but it tells you a lot about people. My dogs are very selective with people, especially men. I don't mean to like my dogs were I'm not a feminist or anything. Oh, what we it's like Kanye for president. What was he saying? There was like one I saw a video. He was like talking about the hurricane with Mike Myers, and then he's like, "The president hates black people," and then the guy's like, "What the fuck?" It's hilarious. Um, but but yes, they are. They're very selective, and animals say a lot about a person's energy. When your dog doesn't like someone, you should probably trust your dog because yeah, dogs already know what's up. Any pet, I think, knows what's up. Um, so it's kind of yeah, numerology, synchronicity, frequencies. I think frequencies are probably the best thing that you can use to even start feeling better. I don't know if you guys have ever had a stressful day. You can look it up on your Spotify. You can look it up on your Pandora, whatever it is, even on YouTube. Like just find healing frequencies. And they really do calm you down. For me, like music is music is power. Music is pretty much rituals. And whenever I don't know, when I came to pick up Pulga and I heard that song, I just felt very connected to my roots because that song always sounds like very it sounds very Hispanic, very cultural. What it says, it's very cultural as well. There's even frequency in the clothes that we wear. Yes, the colors that you use. Um, you you radiate frequency. I mean, they have now that ring aura. You guys heard of that ring? It's like a mood, like a ring that detects your health. There's one that is actually powered by your finger. Why do you think it's powered by your finger? It's literally powered by your skin touch. We are energy sources. What? That's why we carry. Whenever I wear spandex, yeah, because you feel suppressed. You feel like it's not you. You know? Oh man, I had my shameful moments. Maybe. maybe. You know, at some point I didn't know how to dress. Like I still don't know how to dress, but I always felt very uncomfortable because I was like, I'm not wearing the colors. For a long time, I wore the color gray. Gray was my color. I had to have everything with gray and like this. And then afterwards, it was kind of like burgundy or the workout spandex. I never wore spandex because I don't have a butt, and I think it would make me the little one I have would have made it very displeasing. It wouldn't have made like the worth the turn, you know. But what is something that you guys feel, or is it compression? But I still material spandex, which is still plastic. I think that since you're somebody that makes her own soaps, somebody that does her own like her own lotions and stuff, I would think that your skin is a little bit more sensitive, and especially right now, you know that you're more. It's crazy. It's crazy being aware. Sometimes I don't know if it happens to you guys, but sometimes I'm like, is this really happening? Like, así no como chamaquita. Is this really happening? Like, what the fuck? Like, I thought this was a dream. And guys, like, you should pay attention to your dreams. You guys should write down and journal your dreams. And if something is resonating so much, I think you guys need to talk about it because that's something within your body that's telling you that there's a message there. We need to stop being so hard on ourselves, man. Like here we are wasting away for what? For who? Not yourself. I used to be so negative, man. Like I don't know if it ever happens to you guys, but for me it was like fuck, you know, I was just so negative. I sometimes hated that I was bothered by certain things. I had a dream the other night that made me. Do you want to join? Want to chit chat? For sure. Hello. If you guys are just logging in, go ahead and like, follow, share. We're talking about numerology. We're talking about ancestral loops and powers and synchronicities. How everything um, is not coincidence, to be honest. It is not coincidence. And we need to start waking the fuck up. We need to start doing something about it. Because most of the time things that you go through, things that you experience are signs that you need to get moving, buddy. But we don't do these things because why? Why don't we do these things, guys? Because we're scared. all I want for you guys is to be happy. That's all I want. I figured if I can be a little bit cringe for you guys so that you guys can get the courage, then so be it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Right? Has anybody felt like there's been too many synchronicities around you? Have you seen too many numbers like 1 1, 2 2, 11 11, 944? And keep in mind, guys, we're talking about the number 3, which number 9 is very essential as well because the 9 is of new beginnings. And if you think about it, today's the end of the month. It's a short month. We start on the third month of the year. And yesterday we had a conversation about incubus, succubus, and how people use their bodies to try to get energy from you, and you shouldn't be just giving away your energy to anyone, especially a female, because a female is pretty much the holy grail. A female gives life. A female um, is a foundation, right? All right, let's see here. There we go. I sent you an invitation. All right. You're like, what the fuck? So, um,
Hiya!
hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Rise and shine. I did my little, like, I got my little stones right here, um, right up there.
Oh, I see
I'm
them.
gonna do my little incense. I keep calling it incense. It's not a stone, but no, it's calling it the what is it called? Sage. Yes, Palo Santo and sage.
Oh, I love Palo Santo. I love the way it smells. That's the one I use mainly.
I know. Linda was like, "Are you bothered by the smell? Because if you're bothered by the smell, that means that you're evil." I was like, well, you know
You got some stuff to clean up.
what? No, it's kidding. But so you've been seeing a lot of numbers. When did you start seeing like the synchronicity in numbers?
Um, Definitely, this is gonna sound crazy because now that you're asking me that, I almost want to say I started noticing them a little bit last year, towards the end of last year too.
All right.
That's so strange to think about. I think, say hi. He just busted me. But I think that's also when I started noticing it. But it just feels like I don't remember it being like that much. I think I remember I was only aware of like the main ones, like, oh, 33, 555, and then it started getting into more complex, like the repeating ones, like the ones inclining and declining and stuff like that. Because I got 432 one time, and I don't get those very often. So I was like, that's interesting. And I got 888 for the first time, and I was like, that's wild. I've never seen that before. Um, and that was because I just happened to click on the video, and the likes that were on it was 888. And I was like,
I've seen that
um,
too.
I was like, that's wild. I was like, I've never seen that before. Um, yeah, when I looked them up, except for the 888, a lot of them were about like, keep going, you're doing great. Your support system is here, like your ancestors or your spirit guides are here to support you. That a change is happening, but don't be worried or being supported. And when I think about it, I'm like, it makes a lot of sense that I'm seeing the ones that are talking a lot about support, because almost every night starting last year, I started praying in like for my ancestors, my spirit guides, my guardian angels, my archangels. I pray that over the house. I pray it over each and every one of us, that they I thank them that they're here and that they're constantly guiding and looking over us and protecting us. And I say that every night. And I constantly ask for guidance. I constantly ask for support, or I mainly thank because I don't want to come from a place of like begging. So I mainly just like thank you for the additional support today. Like that's my way of like asking. I just think that you guys already know that I need the additional support. And then usually that will be the day where I'm like almost every hour I catch it. And it's like, so it just depends. Like some days I don't see it that often. I'll at least catch maybe one or two of them. But there'll be days where I'm like, man, I don't really feel the best. And it's like, I clock it every hour. I clock it something. And it's just like, it feels good to be like, kind of like the actual confirmation of your prayers. Like when you actually, he's saying hi. He's
Reassuring,
saying
right? Hi,
hi.
puppy. Hello. Hello, angel.
Yeah, it's the reassuring, like, you are doing what you are being answered, you are being listened to, and that's a big one for me for being silent for so long and not being heard for so long. That knowing that I'm being listened to by people that I can't see or hear. Well, not necessarily hear them, but I can't really. They're not physically here,
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
that's that feels good to know that at least that kind of support is there.
right.
He casually
And
chokes me.
he's like, yes, mom. But no, that is very true because that day that you pulled cards for me. So I hadn't started thanking my ancestors, um, but I did after I saw that. So last year for me was kind of like very freeing in a way because I stopped working 24/7 technically. And even though things weren't going as I wanted them to, like I was just in my I don't give a fuck mode. Um and I was just letting myself go with the flow, and I started to notice a lot of little things that I started to take pictures. I started to save them because I was like, you know what?
Mm.
Because a lot of people that I talked to, like I
Ashley.
was in in an environment where like people were supportive.
Hmm.
Oh, Ashley, I'm out, but I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah. Um, we were talking about the number 9, Ashley. It's new beginnings. And to let go of the old for the new to come in. Um, so for me, it was kind of like I'm gonna show people that what I'm talking about is true. It was
Yeah.
more of like because I would always tell them, and I've always been very expressive when it comes to it, and most of the time I'd be talking to myself, and I can like it's like Linda says, like you sometimes get like waves of like flashes of like an image, for example, and that's how kind of like how your premonitions come in a way.
Hmm.
Like the day that I got my flat tire, I wasn't gonna go with her, but I was like, you know what, I should go because I know that tire's gonna, and then literally getting to the house, my tire was like completely torn apart, and I forgot about my car for like 2 days because I didn't.
Man.
It wasn't something that I needed, So I
Mhm.
don't really drive my car, so and it's just there, because the day before I started riding the bike, so I was like, okay. Um, but I told her I was like, that's good that I went because you would have probably freaked out. Um, and for me, it was nothing, and I would have probably gotten mad if it had happened to you and not me.
Mm.
But I started to take pictures of my dash a lot. I have so many pictures that I was gonna, and it's just like the procrastination and the ADHD that doesn't allow me to organize it. But I literally have like a whole set of pictures of my dash, of times. Sometimes I would turn and like the song, like the seconds, are in synchrony of like 222s or 444.
Hmm.
And the one that it's funny because the ascending and descending numbers are very common for Linda. Yesterday she had 345, and yesterday I don't know if you said you had another, or recently you had a number that was descending. Um, and she gets those a lot. And what I've been noticing a lot is like the 44s, like 944 is the one that comes to mind. Um,
944. See, those are the ones that I don't know much about. Like peeping the peeping the ones that are if you do the math on it, it actually means something. I don't know about those. Those are
Yeah,
like the
so
hidden ones, and I'm like, I'm missing them.
for us, it's like I think it's the ADHD. Beautiful Geo, take care. Hello, aviation junkie. Thank you for joining in and showing some love. We appreciate you. Kylie, she can't wait. Um,
Hello.
but I think that thank you guys.
I'm
You
sorry,
guys
my
have an
boy's
amazing day.
dead.
Thank you for stopping by. Um, I noticed that it's usually after I have a thought in mind or an idea or like I'm gonna do this, and because this is gonna happen this way. Good morning. What time is it in Hawaii? She's in Hawaii, man. She's on vacation every day. Um, I don't know if this happens to you that you see those synchronicities. 7:32. It's hella early. It's 10:32, baby. Your synchronicities where it's like you're thinking about something in specific, and then you turn around at the time, and then it's like 7:33 or a certain number, and it's right when you said something that you were gonna do, or oh, thank you so much. Ooh, it's donuts because it's early in the morning.
So then when you
When it
say it, so then we say it like that, it kind of makes sense.
it's like a
Because
confirmation
so then I
almost.
have seen those. Then I have caught a few of those. So I'll have to, but I don't notice them as much, or at least know them well enough to catch it. So I'll have to keep an eye out for them, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, for sure. I think for us is the ADHD that we start to make math with it, or Linda says it's her autism. um, but it works differently for everyone. You're more spiritually connected to your ancestors, to where you're able to see them in a sense, or able to have more of a closer conversation than most of us can. So that's pretty big as well. Thank you so much, Kylie.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Are you a little busy with your little man?
He just woke up from a nap and he doesn't know how to feel yet, so he's just kind of.
Oh,
So it's okay.
he's like I
It's
feel like
Saturday.
this, but a little fuzzy.
Yeah, he kept slamming the tablet down on my lap, like, make it work. And I'm like, it's dead, Betty. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Kylie. Yes, no, that's cool. I mean, they gotta wake up somehow, right? Mila
Hmm.
likes to just chill, and she does this whole number, and then she's like, bye, bye. But I think for you, I think the people that I have encountered, like my wife and Quentin, are literally images of different versions that I've been in.
Mm.
Because Linda even has like, for a long time, my mom would say that we looked alike, like the way our physical aspect. And it's weird because Linda and I, like I said, I've known about Linda forever, but we never talked.
That's wild. I think that's why the other day I don't have a full understanding of what twin flames are. And that's why I was like asking, are you guys twin flames? Like I wish I understood that a little bit more.
Well, twin flames sometimes, if you make it into a I guess like the easy way to explain it would be twin flames are pretty much a reflection of you. They're all the good and the bad of you. Um, and they kind of like, in a sense, they make you see yourself. Um, it's kind of like your soulmate, but it's not something that completes you, but it just makes you see yourself and stand with all your like everything that you are, confront yourself. So they're like kind of like a mirror of yourself. So all the things that you complain about, this person does. So
Hmm.
it's a lot more complicated than a normal relationship would, because the other person is all the things that you don't do, right? Um, they're pretty much like a mirror, but it's a mirror of all your unhealed pain. You know how pain
Mm.
sometimes attracts.
Yeah.
In a way, Linda and I did meet at a point where we were both transformational, like in a transformational path, but we both came back. If you look back at our past, we both have a lot of the similar pains. Um, and I guess in numerology, uh, they're energetically connected to master number 11, which is like standing side by side or mirroring each other. And it's weird because she's barely going through the transformation right now, something that I started like 1 or 2 years ago, where
Can I
it's
ask
slowly
you
taking
guys
over.
ages? Because I just realized I didn't ask.
Um, I am 36 and
Got it.
Linda is 38. She's gonna
Okay.
be, and I was born in January on January 2nd, and she was born September 20th.
Got it.
So she's a Virgo. She's more of like I guess she's like an Earth sign, right?
Yeah, Virgo's an Earth. That's my daughter was born in September, and so she's Virgo.
And she's really, really, really powerful. Let me tell you, she could be mad at me and I'll trip. Oh my god, I love that. He's just enjoying the scene. Look at that. Oh, that's her, huh?
Yep, that's her.
She is living the dream. Look at her. Oh yeah,
She's
she's gonna
super
love the
cute.
outside.
Yeah.
She is gonna love the outside. Um, but Linda and I are very similar, and I find that we do similar things and we complain about similar things about each other. So it's like it's a challenge, It's Virgos are a trip. Let me tell you, Virgos are a damn trip because Virgos are very, how can I say it?
That's her talking.
She's
She
being
said,
very.
continue.
She's like, yes, I want to know about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Virgos are very. How can I put it? Linda doesn't need to be told. She already knows. And because she knows, she uses that to her advantage. So the questions that she asks are not necessarily questions that she doesn't know answers to. She does know the answer to these things. So it's like a trap.
I was gonna say it
Some of
sounds like a trap.
Yes, they're very knowledgeable, but they're
I
very
have
knowledgeable and they use that to their advantage.
it's funny that you say that because I have a friend of a family I grew up with. Her daughter is a Virgo and she's a teenager. I think she's in her senior year now. And she said she said she said never ask my daughter what she thinks about you or a situation unless you're really ready to hear.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. Why? What did she? What will she tell her? What?
Like, I mean, I haven't had those types of conversations with her, but I just think it's funny because um, she said, I forgot what she asked her about. I think it was like something to do with, uh, even something as simple as like, so have you liked my clothes recently? And she's like, well, and then she'll like, literally, like, she'd be like, I think you're
Let me get
doing
into my head.
good. But since you asked, like, she was like, the one thing about them is that at least for her daughter, like she doesn't just offer up the information, she wait till she's asked. But then if you ask, you better be ready to receive whatever is coming in. It's not always negative, but it's like be ready for the truth. So like don't be asking for funsies. Be asking for like a real answer because you're gonna get a real answer. Even if you ask like as a joke, you're still gonna get a real answer.
Yes, it's like they don't talk often, but when they do, you better be ready
Hmm.
for it, right? Another thing that I saw here about twin flames, is that, and this is probably the main important thing about it, a twin flame. The reason why they're twin flames or why twin flame happen is because it's a trauma bond that you have,
Mm.
and so that's what makes it more intense, and it makes it more in- deeply connected, or it feels more connected, deeply connected. And it doesn't always mean that it's not going to work out. Um, But you have to understand that a twin flame is not going to be a fairy tale. It's going to be hard as fuck. Why? Because it's a spiritual assignment that they have as a relationship to make you confront yourself pretty much. Um,
Mm.
and it's pretty much like a way to give yourself back. So it's a version of you that is there beyond all the trauma, beyond all the hurt, beyond all like the old stories and all the old wounds. And the way it ties it together is that um you can calculate your life path number and your twins flames, and they sometimes share like a life path. Like they're sometimes reduced to a 2, a 1, a 4, a 2, an 11, a 4, and a 22. And it's like an energetic confirmation pretty much that you're operating at the same soul frequency. Um, they're just a confirmation pretty much. Numbers are just going to be a confirmation of what you're feeling at the moment. So that's why, like, for example, in a lot of readings, they'll say, like, oh, 11, 11 as I'm reading this. And that's just a confirmation of what they're saying is true. Um, it doesn't necessarily define your path, but it just confirms that you're on the right one, I guess.
Mm.
So it's more of like a security thing or a reassurance.
So then what would be the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame?
Well, a twin flame is for you to get yourself back, which means it's going to be all the good and the bad, all the ugly, and you're going to be all the things you complain about is pretty much you. And you can see that because there's things that I'm thinking about, and the moment I'm thinking about them, it's like Linda's invading my brain. She'll just say it out loud. In soulmates, it's like you're coming home. Like you went through all this shit, and then you're like, I'm here. Um, and this is like you guys have an agreement before birth. You guys
Mhm.
um you guys have already met in other lifetimes, and that's why your connection is like it feels like home because technically you have already met. So this is your soulmate that is your soulmate in pure consciousness as well as it is in this version of ourselves. Um,
Mm.
there could be like companion soulmates, like a best friend. It doesn't always have to be like somebody that you're in love with.
Mhm.
It's just a connection that you have where you feel safe, you feel heard, you feel seen, but there is no romanticness in there, right? Or you have your karmic soulmate, which is like unfinished energy that you have, or some unfinished past life or season that you need to get through. And then you have your soul family, which are mentors or family members that arrive or that come, and you have this close connection in a moment of your life where you really needed somebody to guide you, right? The catalyst soulmate is the one that is not long term, but the feeling is like it could be something transformational, like a stranger you met somewhere and they said a phrase that just resonated. Um, and the soulmates are kind of like they're not confronting yourself. They're more of like they're pretty much consistently finding yourself at the same path, and it's loving yourself for all the mistakes that you're doing because that person's not going to judge you for your mistakes, right? They're just going to continue to love you. Um, and in people, for example, that have like all this trauma bond or karmic um, connections, I guess. The chase is what feels familiar, and a soulmate connection feels like it's almost too good to be true. But the only one who really like somebody who knows or who comes from a trauma bond feels like it's gonna be they're gonna be suspicious at first because it's like too good to be true and it's hard to receive rather than to always be giving, I guess. um And I guess like what makes it so true is that they witness where you came from pretty much. They witness where you came from and all the things that you had to go through to get to the person that you are right now. It doesn't mean that your twin flame cannot be your soulmate because you guys can still choose. Everything is a choice. You're either going to confront yourself and learn to love yourself, and that person's going to be willing to change with you and become your soulmate, or you're going to have a really bad downfall and then find your soulmate. But I guess the way I see it is like from really great pain, you're going to, and it comes like whenever you don't. That's why they always say like patience is key too, because I was very patient. I was like, I want things now. And Linda came when I least expected. I was just working on a regular Sunday. I was like, hey, that's my lighter. And then here she goes, give me her whole social security number and shit. I was like, girl, chill. She's like, I'm
That's
fine, amor.
hilarious. You're like, get off me.
I
Why
was like, okay,
y'all?
you live like it's a mile and a half from my house. It's crazy. We always lived nearby, like literally a mile apart, but we never ran into each other.
So that's I'm trying to follow what you're saying and trying to figure out what my husband would be to me. I think it could be twin and soul because I know for a fact we made a soul contract in this life together to be together.
Mhm.
So that's why I think it's still also soul at the same time. Because when I did my Akashic reading, I did learn that he hasn't been my husband in every timeline, but he has been my husband in almost all of them. So we
Or it could
have,
be the time that you're choosing yourself, because he also came after
mm,
you said that you're making better choices for yourself.
right, right. And that very much, oh, you know, and I just remember too that when she said that whenever she said that the years or the lifetimes we choose to be with each other, it always comes in monumental shifts where the divine feminine is being called on and the divine masculine is being called on. And she said it's because he represents to me, or maybe not even to me, but just maybe to maybe not right now, but maybe to other people to learn from him that this is what the divine masculinity looks like. And then
I
I'm
think it would be to you.
yeah, so then it would be like he is the architect of what the masculinity looks like and I'm the architect of what the femininity looks like. And so we
Yeah.
come in at we are birthed at a time and are placed together at a time when it is needed in the collective. That energy is needed the most is when we are connected together. And
And he would be your soulmate.
yeah, so that's why I feel like he's my soulmate. But then when you're talking about twin flames too, I was like, there's so many. Um, Obviously, you know, he wasn't brought up the same way that I was, but as far as like the emotional, maybe not so much some of the physical, but he definitely got it more physical than I did. The abuse part and stuff like that, like those aspects and the not being heard and struggling with that. Girl, then let it go. She has this balled up in her mouth, yelling at it, and I'm like, then let it go. Just let it go.
No.
Um,
Release some anger.
yeah, but it's like there was a lot of things that had came up for both of us that we were like, oh man, we need to heal that and address that. And it may be all right. I got you. She said it's
Hi, mama. She looks just like him. Like she
yes,
looks more like him
yes.
than
He's
this
more
one,
like
because he
me.
looks. Yeah, she looks a little bit more like you, especially with the curly hair and everything. But her eyes are more like him.
This is her
And
daddy.
then, hi,
He's so
mama.
cute.
I have to
But
say that from what you're saying, it sounds like because this year is like you have to embrace your feminine and your masculine side. So the fact that you mentioned that should be should be a huge sign that he's your soulmate and that it came
Mm,
out to be this year because you are confronting your twin flame with them because you see some things in yourself. Like for example, his would have been the emotional side of it of allowing himself to feel. But go ahead and continue, and I'll
yeah.
tell you about the rest.
No, I really like that. I think that really like I think that was the piece that I was missing in a sense because the way when we got together, it was definitely um a trauma bonding experience that kind of held us together, and then learning to evolve from that was the key for sure for us. And then it was like, well, who are we outside of just identifying, what made us who we are right now? Like, oh baby, she just woke up from a nap.
She's like, I chew. Oh, she's sleepy. I think that it's the fact that he's able to open up with you like that too, because let's be honest, like no matter how much he feels comfortable, like it's very rare for a guy to open up in that sense or to
Yeah.
feel safe, especially somebody that comes from that type of trauma where he was there was a lot of like abuse, physical abuse, and the fact that he was able to open up with you, that's like alone a huge sign, a huge green flag. Um, and it is probably because you guys, I think that it always happens with the person that doesn't even have to ask you to change. Like you just want to do it because you're like, you know what, I deserve to be happy, and because this person's in my life, like I actually want to do better for myself so that I can feel good about being with this person as well, or give something back that I'm receiving from this person. And in the conversation that you told me that you guys had in the beginning, um, because it's not something, it's kind of like something that you don't tell a person unless you're in for the long run or that you really
Mm-hmm.
feel it. And the fact that you guys from the beginning were able to have that intimacy, because it is like you don't like coming with um your weakest parts and into like somebody that you don't know is how they're gonna react. That alone is like really big, you know.
Yeah.
So I think he is part like your twin flame because you did have to go through that version of yourself where you need to fix yourself. But at the same time, he's your soulmate because many people that meet people and that confront them and their flaws are resistant to it, and it
Mm.
turns into chaos, right? But you guys find a way around it. And simply each time as you guys get further into your relationship, into your family, there's even more growth. There's like more room for growth.
Yeah.
And you get to continue to like evolve together. And it's not something that is chosen out of neglect for oneself,
Mm.
but it is like the safety of you being healthy because in order for you to be healthy, you can do all these things for him, you know? And I think
Yes.
that's a really cool balance that you
Because
guys have going on.
I also think like you almost, oh, you don't want to be up there. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I take it all back. Take it all back. I'm sorry. She got mad so fast. She was like, "No, ma'am.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, sorry."
your
Um,
Virgo has a little contreras.
yes. I think the the thing I was proud of myself or proud of us was the fact that we could have burned each other out with how much we were going through individually, and then not to mention, I shared how like my parents lived with us, and that pushed us to the brink for sure. And it
Were
took
you guys
me
like really intense? Like that all your I'm sorry for interrupting. Was your situation like really intense from the beginning and then now it started to cool off?
as far as
Your environment. Like the environment was like a very like not necessarily between you guys, but you guys were going through situations that were provoked by your environment, like
it was
within
never
the relationship.
us. It was never us. Like when we were
Right, it was
left,
your environment.
It was always our environment. When we were left alone, it was just like, oh, okay, cool. The only conflicts we would have is that he's like a homebody, and I'm like, I need to ground, I need to go outside, I need fresh air. And he'd be like, but I'm playing 2K, and I'm like, I will kill you.
He's a Virgo, right?
No, he's a Gemini sun and moon. He's Gemini.
Oh, he's a Gemini.
Hmm.
Mm.
And I'm always the one who was like, no, I want to go and do something. And not, it didn't even necessarily, even now, like, it doesn't even necessarily have to be like, I don't care about going shopping or anything materialistic. I just like to be outside. I like the
The
feeling of,
fresh air and the grass and the trees, right?
that's really all I need. Like, I used to, when we lived on the, because we're on the second floor now. When we lived on the bottom floor, I would just, before I had them, I would just take my yoga mat and walk to a spot in my complex, and I would just lay out my mat and just do yoga in the middle of the in the middle of like the park. And I was like
That's
the
so
only person to
relaxing.
be out there, and that's just what I would do. So for me,
See,
it was
those are
just
the things
about
that
like,
I always wanted to do too.
so those are like mainly our things. Um, is whenever I got cooped up, I was the one that would start stuff. And then for him, if we were in like super public areas, like, I mean, I even found enjoyment in like going grocery shopping, but he would get anxiety because Walmart sucks and there's too many people. And for me, I'm like prancing down the aisle, and he's like, like
That
on
sounds like
monitor.
Linda and I.
It's wild. It's wild. Um, but that was always like the main things that would cause us conflict. And then that we were normally mainly chill for the most part. Even when people left, like when my parents left, it was dealing with the fact that they left, as the dealing with, not that they left because I asked, but dealing with the fact that they still lived rent free from the things that we had to go through, like rent free in our head and our emotions. And that just came down to the fact that we had to forgive and let go.
Right.
But again, it still
And
had nothing to really do with us.
yeah, it was always the environment, the people that were around you. It's crazy because Linda and I kind of went through something similar when my mom was here. Um, because obviously I was having my mama moment. Hi, mamas. Hi, hi. She's like, hey, hi. She's like, I'm flying. Hell yeah. um, when my mom was here, she was kind of like very. I love my mama, but you know how moms can be. They sometimes
Yeah.
say things that sounds like they in their mind it's helpful, but it is not. It is more criticism. Um, and
Did you figure
obviously
out
I
a
didn't say
button?
anything.
No.
I'm sorry.
She figured out one of the buttons.
Oh, she's like, oh, I found what this is. Um,
Yeah.
so I didn't know how bad it was like getting, and then on top of that, my sister lived here too, and my sister was like my child, so she
Hmm.
was like feeding a lot of things into my mom, and I was in denial, obviously,
Yeah.
because in my mind, I'm already used to like, um,
We're conditioned to that type of dysfunction and what
yeah,
their
like I don't take it
words
personal.
say to, yeah.
So it was always like the don't listen to her, Linda. And because I was so blind to it, it was kind of like I didn't realize what it was doing to my relationship, where we didn't have any issues at all. I mean, we would literally our mornings when I was not like when it was Saturday morning, or we would wake up and be in the car by 7 in the morning and just go in for a drive and get coffee. And then we stopped doing those things as my mom was here and stuff, and I was like, I didn't realize how much it was affecting. But then also not having my mom in my life and the situations that were going on between us was also affecting my relationship because, like you said, it was living rent free. And because I couldn't react with my mom, or my mom wasn't in my face so that I can react, I would take it out on Linda. And it's
Mm.
like, or vice versa, where um, Linda's had a pretty hard time as well being heard with her family, especially because she has a sister that pretty much just made her whole. like I guess like she made her whole truth be questioned because she was made to be seen as an addict, as somebody who was just like out of it mentally, and
Mm.
everybody and their mama believed the sister. So Linda had to like suck it up, buttercup, go through the whole not having her kids for a month, dealing with her parents and her whole family thinking that she was a druggie, um, getting this guy to fucking give her shit back. I mean, it was like as easy as it started, it became chaotic for 2 years, almost 2 years.
Real
And I
quick, I'm gonna
remember
just turn
like,
off the camera for a moment
yeah,
for
yeah, go
her,
for it.
but I'm
You're good.
still here.
No, yeah, you're fine. Um, but it's like chaotic to think, that sometimes, um, like sometimes we end up projecting all of our external discomfort in in the person that we're with when it's not even issues that are between us. Like you said that you guys didn't even have any issues, but they were starting to be issues because of the environment. And in all honesty, like it's crazy because it's so easy for us to assume because of our past experiences, and we don't really realize that the uh that the people that we take it on and on out on had nothing to do with it. We're so wrapped up in our pain that we don't acknowledge other people's um role, I guess, in the whole situation, where it's like, dude, that person did not do this to you. That person doesn't even know what the hell's going on. And here
Right.
you are taking it out on them.
And that definitely, I don't know if you remember the other day I said something similar to that, where it's like I let the situation live so rent free in my head, and I glorified the fact that I was being allowed to be angry for the first time and vocalize it, that I was taking it out here, like to my actual family, and I had to stop.
And that's a hard truth to swallow in all honesty, because not everybody's gonna be willing to admit like, oh yeah, like I'm over here living the dream and just sucking the energy out of you.
Right.
And it's crazy because some people know that they do those things, and the moment that they feel, and this is like when, the last scream that the last scream your trauma tries to make or something in order for you to go back to it, that when it seems like they know whenever you're doing better, they try to come back and reel you in.
Yeah.
And it's like a proof of like how strong you are, how resistant you are to it. Um, and that's always going to happen. You know why? Because they're losing control from you. They're losing the boost that they get in knowing that they have somebody hurting for them. It's really crazy how we can feed off of other, and I say it because I've done it. I don't feel proud of it, but I can admit that I've been a succubus. And in all honesty, it's like horrible because when you become aware of, sometimes don't do it in ways. I know for a fact that I never had bad intentions. Um, but my mental state of mind that at that moment I felt like it was owed to me because I had invested all this energy that nobody asked me to give, but I chose to do this. So I mean, come on, it would only be reasonable, right, for the other person to do the same. But it's a hard pill to swallow when nobody thinks the same, nobody knows or thinks the same things that you do. Um, and a lot of times it's like realizing that or accepting that we think differently, which I think is like all of our problems right now.
Right.
It is crazy.
I think right now we're like in the middle of evolving in such a way that it's conflicting with what we're the low vibration, what we're used to. So like one thing my husband said that caught me, that like snatched me up by my weed, essentially, because he was like, I don't really, he was like, we found ourselves like the only things that we really talked about a lot of the time had to do with negativity towards a situation, towards a person, and towards a or to, what was going on. And he was like, "What would our conversations look like if they don't include that anymore?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oof, you're right."
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I realized just how much energy was really, really going towards that. And I was like, man, what would it look like if we turn that and try to manifest instead? What would that look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if we transmuted those? What would that
Mm-hmm.
look like?
Yeah, it's weird because I noticed that too at some point that I couldn't understand how we were friends with the partner I had, that we were friends with like people that when they were not there, she would mention how unhappy she was with them, or how unhappy like this person, not Linda. Linda doesn't even talk about anybody. But Linda's like, People don't like me because
Don't
I don't
ask
talk
her
shit."
because she will.
No, yeah, I know, right? She does. She says the truth, but she listens. She's like, I just like the cheese man.
Hmm.
She's like, I have people telling me left and right, and then I'm just like, I'm gonna stay quiet because what tells me that they're not saying the same thing about me? Which was another thing that I would always think, like, okay, so if this person finds it easy to come and tell me something about somebody that they are friends with, what makes me to think that they're not doing the same thing to me when they turn and go to this friend, or
Hmm.
that they're not talking shit about me? And I got frustrated. I would get frustrated because I would hear like, "Oh, he's just the way, like he doesn't fucking know how to do his job, blah 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 blah." But then we were at work, and then it was like, "Oh, wait, can you do this for me?" Oh, and I was like, "Whoa, I thought you said you weren't gonna allow this anymore." That for me was like a big conflict because I am really like, I would always have very present that all you have is your word, and that when you don't keep your word, you don't have shit. And I never kept my word. I was very bad at keeping my word, especially with time. Um, but I realized how people can use that as a manipulation tool, and how draining it was to talk shit about people and then to still socialize them with them. Because the type of person that I am is like, if I don't like you, I don't like you. I'm not gonna waste my time in trying to in like be comfortable in your company when I obviously do not. I'm a very upfront person, so not being upfront was hard for me.
Mm.
And then many times I became being like the too much person because I would I would get frustrated, and then I would call out the bullshit and be like, "Why the fuck are you taking this shit? If you just told me this in front of the other person?" Because I'm like, "Why are we doing this? Like, I'm 30 something years old. Like, I don't need to be dealing with this high school drama."
But
Because that's
see,
how
I
I would
feel
see it.
like
I'm
that
like,
has to
"What are we
do
doing?"
with Latinos too, because Latinos do that a lot. And
Oh
I'm like,
yeah,
girl, this
tell
is
me
so
about it. In the
toxic.
workplace. Yeah,
So
I
toxic.
agree with you. I see that with my family. I see that with my mom. They don't have like friends outside of the family. So
Yeah.
they talk shit between each other, but they don't say it to themselves, and they still sit together. And I can't.
Yes.
Like, I just can't do that. Like, the things that I
Yes.
say about someone, you best believe I already said that to them, or most of the time I have already said it to them. Like, I I have said things that I am, after I say them, I'm like, shit. I should have, like, I'm already a dick as it is. Like, my tone of voice is already condescending as it is. And my mom has told me, she's like, you just have this condescending tone. Even my boss, that's like very mean, she's like, you don't have to yell. The tone of voice that you use, it just makes people feel stupid. And I'm like, well, because I feel stupid most of the time. So I'm just like, it's not something that I do consciously?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I never mean things with a bad intention, but why are we lying to ourselves? I'm a bad liar. Like, I don't appreciate being lied to.
Right.
Maybe because I'm always the last person to find out. I'm always the last person to know, and the person who lives a lie all the time.
Because let me say this, because you're the middle child, aren't you? So you're my sister. My sister is the middle child, and when she graduated from high school and went to college, like she went to school for psychology, and then she ended up being going into HR.
Mm-hmm.
She all her boundary building and all that stuff happened then, like back when I was in high school. And so my mom leaned on me, and then all of a sudden I became the one that heard about everybody's business, everybody's complaints, everybody's everything. And
It just drains you.
it was just like, yeah, literally. And it's been like that like my whole life. And then ever since I asked him to leave, and then I started setting up boundaries, I said that I told you about the other day. um I definitely feel like I have completely thrown off the uh what is it called? Basically, I've completely thrown her off in a sense where it's like this is what, like, I was the person she relied on for this,
Right.
and now I'm not there.
Yeah.
And it's awkward because I can tell that when she wants to talk to me, that she wants to say stuff or she wants to, but I don't allow it anymore. Like I even made it very clear to like my brother, that I don't want to, like, if you hear something from them, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like I don't have any interest in hearing anything. Like if there's issues with my sister, I mean, unless she tells me directly, I don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
If they have issues with you, then that's between you guys, and I don't want to hear it. Like
Right.
if like and for example, like my parents have zero understanding of the fact that if you have an issue with our partners and you have an issue with us, like we're one and the same.
Right.
And because we are the representative of our family, you have to address that with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, she had issues with my parents, and she voiced them and stuff like that, and my parents were like basically ignoring her existence and still trying to reach out to my brother, and they're like not understanding, like, no, like if you think that she sent that message and he doesn't know about it, then you're wild. Then you are absolutely wild on that, because they know, like, if she sends something, or if Isaiah says something, or if my sister's wife says something, it's both of us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I have to admit, I have a hard time with that. I think that was one of the reasons why some of my relationships failed because I always had that, like, well, that's my mom, you know?
Mm,
Um, I used to help my mom financially. Um, at times I wouldn't think about the amount, you know? It's just like, if you need it, I'm going to spend it on something stupid. Here you go. If I had it, I would give it to her. But what would stress me out is that I always found out last minute. And, or sometimes, like, money has always been like our main issue, right? Because it's something
mm-hmm.
that we didn't grow up with. So, my mom has, I wanted it to not be an issue when I was living on my own because I didn't want to have that stress. Like, I never talked about my finances with others, whether I was going through it or not. Like, I'm gonna fake it till you make it, you know?
Right.
Right. But with my mom, like, setting those boundaries of like, because my mom is very, multiple times with different partners, she's called them their wrong name, like the partner's wrong name.
Mm.
And she's not done it just once, it's like with everyone.
Not
And I have to
Linda.
deal with the I don't think she's done it with her,
Oh, thank God.
but I think she did. She made like a insinuation. The thing about my mom is that my brother, I know she comes from a good place and she feels comfortable in saying these things because my brother is very open with his relationship because my brother is very, he's the one that lived with her the longest. So my brother is essentially a female, like, trapped in a man's body. No, he's a man, but he's straight and everything, but he's a mama's boy. Like there is no other way to put it. He's the
Right.
first guy. He's the first baby. Obviously, he's the only boy, so he's a mama's boy. Um, and whenever him and his girl are having issues, the girl will tell my mom, and they're like, "Mira su hijo," and then they sometimes argue in front of my mom. My mom has too much input in the relationship, and I have told them, bro, like you don't want to tell her things because I have learned in the past that you and your wife are gonna get cool. You guys are gonna fix your issues, but your mom is always, but my mom and you guys are always gonna be mad at that one time I was upset.
Mhm. Yep.
I was like, so I was like, bro, like, do you think I don't have issues at times with it? Yes, we all do. We all have it rough, but am I gonna tell my mom about it? No. And why is that? Because you know what? It's not my mom's business. Because I'm gonna make up with Linda maybe tomorrow or maybe in 5 minutes. But my
Hmm.
mom is gonna always remember that, and then who knows? It's gonna slip at the wrong time, the
Right.
wrong place.
Yep.
So for my mom, the fact that my brother tells him, it's funny that you said that she calls you with like things about other people because my mom would call me and she tells me how everybody and their mama's doing, how so and so got a job where I used to work at, and how so and so got this, how my brother was doing this, but she never would ask before how I was doing. And I was like, Mom, I already
Right.
got issues myself. Why are you stressing me out with other people's
Right.
shit? Like, I ain't got no time for that negativity. I'm like, if I didn't call them myself, then it's a reason. There's a reason for it. I got shit on my mind too. Well, she stopped doing that, but for a while, she was very. My mom thinks that I'm always in a bad state of mind. So, truthfully, Linda, at times, she's like, your mom doesn't like me. Your mom thinks that all your downfalls are because of me. And I'm always like, no, my mom is like that. So, obviously, some of our issues are because Linda, I don't have, I don't make Linda feel validated with her concerns because I am so wrapped up in the whole family is everything. And no matter what, that's my mama. And I got to respect her even if she doesn't, you know, even if she says bad things or even if she doesn't support me 100%, I have to do whatever. And for the longest time, I can tell you that I would act and do things and I would base them upon the worthiness of like, but that's my mom, you know? Um, and it brings a lot of issues because it's like I couldn't see the distance or the separation between finances and couples, but for me the what's it called, like the whole having being one when it comes to that situation was like mind blowing because I
Mm.
didn't know how that was possible, and Linda's
Yeah.
like, well, it's because if I'm upset, like you should be upset too. And ironically, I did that last time with my sister. My sister was like my main issues because my sister is like my child. I have these two girls that are very girly, and then my sister's like wanting wanting all this attention from me that she no longer has because I'm over here busy, and she's seeing things that I'm refusing to see. And most of the time when we would argue, it's like I pick sides, right? And I end up going with my partner. And my sister would be like, well, it's because you don't see these things. And I'm like, yeah, dude, but that's like my partner, like, you know? But then over here with my partner, I wouldn't do the same thing. Like I would do the same thing. I'd be like, yeah, but that's my sister. So in a sense, like I was just going with the flow to be good with both people, but I would end up
Mm.
fucking it up both ways.
Did you find yourself doing
So
that with your mom too?
yes, she's actually. I think that she's been watching more often, and I think that the fact that my mom is very needs external approval, and she cares too much about what people say.
Yeah.
So in her sense, um, she started to be proud. I think after we started doing the mutual lives, we started doing like the co-hosting and everything. And
Hmm.
I think that it started when her friends were like, "Aren't you excited?" Because her friends were all hyping her up. They were like, "Hey, like I sometimes watch your daughter, and like aren't you all excited that she's gonna be famous?" And I was like, "Oh my god, mom!" And she's like, "No, but they were so happy." She's like, and like, you're doing really well. And the other day that we were talking, I think it was at night, a couple of days ago, and she was telling me like, hey, like I really hope that we have more time to spend together. She's like, cause I miss you. She's like, I miss. She says that when I was born, I had little starry eyes because they were so tiny and they were just so sparkly. And I was like, you know what, mom? I believe you because I don't even feel like I look like myself, but I mean, they say that's me. But she's like, oh, she's like, I just miss like having because we were really close. Like you can't even imagine how close we were. Like, and
Mm.
it became awkward, you know, like it became like it's world. I was gonna put something, but never mind. No,
Oh,
no,
it's at work.
she's she's like the she informs the world. We tell what's wrong, and then she's like, okay, broadcasting live from Rosa's house. She sends a voice message to all the family. My mom is a typical Hispanic family that if you tell her, don't say something, by the time you hang up, the whole family knows.
The whole family knows, yeah. Yeah, same.
Um,
So the reason
but
why like I asked if we did the same thing for your mom is because through you I'm understanding my sister a little bit. Because like I said early on, my sister went straight for setting her boundaries and all that stuff, and then now it almost feels like um she's like turning around being more understanding to but which would be good, but almost to the effect of um
being standoffish.
y- I would say like to the extent of like not even allowing accountability to be taken from my mom if that or by my mom. Like so for example like
Yeah, she's very forgiving. Then
yeah, mm, how do I put this? Like I'm sure if my mom is saying stuff to her about me, part of me believes that, she is probably standing up for me, being like, this is the journey she's on right now. Give her space. You just have to respect that because that's what she sounds like when she talks. But then on the other end, how do I want to say this?
she's supportive to the
She does. She
side.
like double dutches. She like double dutches,
Hmm.
and usually that's fine, and I get that, but not to the point of um coddling. Is that the right word? Is that what I'm looking for?
Yeah, where you're making it seem like it's okay that they made those mistakes.
Yes, like it's okay that, that this is what they're doing, that this is what they're saying, and it's not.
I get you.
And this is how they're acting, and it's not. And it's not. Because, and I think it's like my sister and I have done role reversals essentially. And it's really throwing me off because when I made the decision to like not make excuses anymore, I was like, oh, I'm going to find an ally in my sister. And now it's the other way around. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, for me, it's whiplash because I'm like, where I thought I would have found camaraderie and like finally feel like my sister and I are on the same page because there's a 4 year age gap. So there's always been gaps in our relationship and gaps within things that we agree on or get along with. She has always been
She's older or younger?
older. I'm the youngest. So
Okay. Oh,
because
okay.
there's so much of a gap, in many ways, she was like a mother figure for me when I was like in high school and she was in college. Like she was the one. She would always take me out. Like I would go stay with her during my spring and summer breaks, like when I was in high school and stuff like that. Like she was the one who took care of me, and she was the one who made sure that my grades were where they were supposed to be because my parents didn't care. Like they didn't, not that they didn't care, but they didn't know to care. They didn't know to push me, and my sister did.
Right.
So she was my parent. And so my whole life it was trying to measure up. My entire life was, even into my relationship with my husband at the beginning, was measuring up
Comparing
to
you to
her.
her.
Even to the extent of, you can ask him, even to the extent of when we got together, I said, I said, before we even get engaged, the person you need to ask first is my sister.
Oh,
Like, that's to the extent of what that felt like. And I still do. I hold her in the highest regard in my heart, and I
oh,
love her so much, but it's really hard to it's really hard to feel like we're in two different spots right now. When I thought that,
I kind of know what you're talking about because my sister and I don't talk. But I miss her like crazy. Um, and the way that you feel about your sister is the way that I wanted her to feel about me. But I was too aggressive. I was too suffocating. And because I grew in chaos, that's all I knew. So I didn't know how to be
yeah.
there for her. My way of being there for her was her having a roof over her head and the things she needed, right?
Mm.
Um, but go ahead and continue. And I'll tell you more about my sister afterwards.
But yeah, so it just it it's uncomfortable and it kind of hurts. Like, I feel like the person she's been trying to encourage me to be like my whole life is who I am now. And then now that I'm here, it's like not accepted fully, or like not understood. That's what I feel like. And I'm just like, but you wanted me to be, you wanted me to be at this point so bad. And all your talks with me, I feel like this is where you wanted me to be. And now that I'm here, it's like, what do you mean? Like, you don't understand what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean that you don't, that you, that now you want to be Switzerland? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't get it. And it sucks so bad. I miss her so much. I miss her so much. I miss her so
Yeah,
much. And her and her wife are about to, if this goes through,
so
I'm
deeply.
praying that it goes through, but her and her wife are about to adopt a little girl from Arizona. And
I pray that happens.
I am so happy. I'm so excited for them. I'm like, in my heart, I'm cheering them on so much. And I want this to happen for them. And I don't know, I'm trying to be kind of hopeful that, maybe that's the part that's missing. Like, maybe um, when she gets to be a mom for herself finally, like maybe I'll get my sister back, or at least maybe even a different, better version. Not that there's anything wrong with her, but like a version where her and I can connect again finally, because I just feel
Distant, right?
so disconnected. But
Mm-hmm.
I know it was probably needed, because maybe to an extent it was very unhealthy how much I relied on her approval so much. Even even to the amount of being like, this is who I am now. Is this okay? Like, is this still comfortable for everyone, especially you? Like, is this still, you know? So maybe this is
Yeah.
necessary for me to grow,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't
You
change
needed that space.
it doesn't change the fact that it really sucks. And that I'm like, I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of the things that are happening now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to share it with her so badly, and it just feels like we're not there right now, and it sucks. Sorry, I don't even know where that came from. See, this is the shit I be talking about. This is the shit I be talking about when I talk with you.
Everything comes
Things
out, right?
come up. Everything comes up that doesn't that I don't even realize that is there that I need to talk about.
Or that had been lingering. Um, it's crazy because what you just mentioned right now, it's kind of like what I'm going through with my sister. I mentioned that me and my sister don't talk. She actually has a baby that I don't even know what he looks like.
Mm.
Um, and I don't even understand it. My mom doesn't understand it. But I just realized, I mean, obviously I miss my sister. Um, that video, I don't know if you've seen that we came in with ducks because for me, my sister was still had a chance in like living a life, a normal life, I guess. Um, I was in a very unstable place and I always wanted her to be heard because how I was shut down constantly.
Mhm.
But my sister, I realized that um, my sister probably has autism. Autistic people are not so connected to their emotional side of things. My sister has
That
so many
makes
straight in
sense.
the face that, and I didn't know about this because Linda was the one that told me. Um, but Linda lived like a different reality. My sister, when she was little, like I swear she had like over 20 pairs of shoes because she was so like spoiled. She was a princess. She would wake up in the morning, her hair would not be done, but she had lipstick on. And she didn't like to eat sandia because she wanted to get sticky. She hated pooping her pants. We thought it was adorable, but Linda mentioned that it's actually a sign of autism. She's like
Mm.
anything sparkly that she likes. My sister would not play with her toys. She would, though her playing was organizing them, setting them in place.
Mm.
Her room, she like for me, seeing messy kids is weird because she wasn't like that. She was very organized. Like she always liked to be clean. She always liked to wear dresses. She was just not your typical little girl. And compared to my cousin was more like, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. She was a typical kid, like kids are kids, they're gonna get into everything. My wife was like, she had autism. She's like, but the thing about her is that she had 1133. She had autism. She's like, or she probably still does. She's like, but um, she's like, the thing is that I didn't get attention. She's like, so I was disregarded. She's like, so I would have my intense moments. My sister, when she would get mad, she would like, this was like her moment of getting mad. She would start yelling and she'd put her arms out like that. And she'd get red.
Mm.
She wouldn't eat certain foods because of the texture, foods that she eats now. So she was very praised. So because she was very praised, she doesn't know consequences and she doesn't know the struggle. And I didn't know how much I was also feeding into it because if there was any situation that got hard, I would fix it for everybody. One time when my mom got her green card or whatever, we were gonna go through Mexico and then cross in San Diego and then come back through San Diego to Yuma, right? Well, on our way up the hill, the mountains, my sister's car, I don't even know how the fuck we made it to Tijuana, but my sister's car blew a head gasket. So the
Mm.
car had no pressure. Apparently, it was running uphill with no coolant. It was leaking into the engine, so we didn't even notice. She needed a whole ass engine. How the hell we got it crossed? How did I even figure that out? I don't know, but I was so stressed at the fact that my sister was going to get stressed and worried at
Mm.
my sister getting stressed. Everybody had their fluoxetine or whatever nonsense on them, and I'm over here trying to figure out how the fuck we're gonna cross the car to the U.S. How the fuck am I gonna get it to a dealership on a Saturday? Of course, it's not gonna be seen that day. And how are we getting back to Yuma? Cause now we don't have a car. I don't know how I made it happen. I got like a car for like $20. I don't even know where I found this damn car. My sister, my mom, and my wife were all chill. I was the one that was stressing. We still got home by 8 o'clock. Um, and my sister didn't have to lift a finger. Like even the whole time that the car was in San Diego getting fixed, she had an extended warranty, so she didn't have to pay for anything. She only literally the only time she said anything was when went to go pick up the rental car, That's the only time she had to talk about anything, and I was just giving her name. But anything that happened stressful, I handled it. But anytime I needed help, it was a fucking drag.
Mm.
So she kind of like had just being around her like made me feel like I was legit like mentally unstable, like I was crazy. Because for her, like, yes, I got her out of many situations. I almost fought her boyfriend many times. And I was willing to like go to jail for her, but I remember that the one day that broke my heart was her boyfriend was outside, and um when I looked out the window, he was throwing some pictures out and they fell and she was picking them up, and I ran outside and I was like, "Don't you fucking pick that shit up." I was like, "Drop that shit on the floor." And then she was like,
Mm.
"What?" She's like, "Go inside." I was like, "No." I was like, "This is my fucking house right now. I don't give a fuck who you are. Punch me in the face, dude, so I can call the cops." I was like, "I don't give a fuck." I was like, "Rosita, you go inside and don't you fucking come out of the house right now." And I started talking shit to this guy that was carrying a gun, let me tell you. He was a Mino Cholo. Did I give a fuck? No. Why?
Mm-mm.
Because nobody's gonna talk to my sister like that. When I moved, he also did that here in my house. I also challenged him again. I went and I punched one of her boyfriends in the face because I just wanted to keep my sister safe from all things, right? One thing that I always told her, because she's very smart and she is in a position right now that requires a degree, and she doesn't even have a degree, but she works as a social worker technically for Arizona work. So they help kids get a career, and they get funded by the state.
Mm.
So they kind of like go from high school. When they come out, they do hands-on training and they get paid by the state for hands-on training, and then they'll eventually get hired. But pretty much the state funds this program, right? Um, she was really hurt when one of her students ended up being like in a shooting or something. Um, but it was good to see how much this girl was like, she knew her power. She's like, I want it, I'm gonna have it, and it would happen.
That's okay. See, that's like with people who are autistic, I'm like, that can sometimes be the greatest gift because the emotions and stuff that we feel normally is not even a problem.
She detaches hard. Like, she has said to me straight in the face, Rocio, I don't give a fuck about people. I'm like, that's a fucking scary feeling. She's a Sagittarius, so you can imagine. On top of
Wild.
that, um, after she left, like 2 months later, she got pregnant, and I thought that was like so disappointing. It hurt because for the longest time I wanted a kid, and she knew that that was like the only thing that I wanted my mom to get close to her.
Hmm.
I know that she didn't plan it, but she talked a lot of shit. She talked a lot of shit about me, and just the way they left and everything, and how it was so quick for my mom to just, or how easy she disrespected my mom's house in a sense, that she only sees her like her roommate. And she, this whole time that she was out and about with me, she's been living with me for like 15 years, and she didn't get pregnant. And then as soon as she goes with my mom. So
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. And then she started to say that I was in love with her. I was probably in love with her because, I mean, it's just not normal how I get mad. When multiple times I told my mom, well, it's not that it's just like, you have to understand, mom, this was my chance to get close to you. Now I don't
Mm.
have anything. I was like, so I can't tell you that I'm not going to talk to her forever. But right now, being around her is not good because I'm still working on myself.
Mm.
My mom's trying to force it. And there's many times that I would get so mad, like, I kid you not, I would get mad to the point where like I would get anxiety and panic attacks because I really missed her. I wanted to talk to her. Because my
Mm.
sister, as much as she's a bitch, she's like the cool bitch. She's like a Kali Uchis vibe. Maybe that's why I like Kali Uchis so much, because she introduced me to that music. But if you ever see any of her interviews, Kali Uchis is like all about herself and she doesn't care what people say. Like,
Mm.
she embraces the love, but she's like, I don't need no drama, so
I
I'm
don't
gonna make
need
it
it.
myself. Mm-hmm. And that's how my sister is. My sister doesn't do drama. She just makes you feel like shit. So she is very unstable, and I think that's why she like. It's weird. The day my grandma passed away, we were gonna cross the border. She had a manzana, that was like had chile, and the guy told us to throw it away. We already had a nasty ass feeling. My dog was even having a nasty ass feeling, and I kid you not, she lost it over that apple. And she was like, I have a picture of like us in the car, but she was like, why the fuck they? She had this whole meltdown at the border because they made her throw the apple away. But I think it was because she was already sensing that there was something that was gonna be wrong. It's like 3 hours later they called us and my grandma had a heart attack. So we already kind of like sensed it. But homegirl is just like so intense. She's hella extra. She wears hella long nails. She has purses in the shape of skulls, and all the shoes that she likes are like weird ass colors. Um, and she's like fucking crazy. She is a vibe. I'm not gonna lie. But right now, she tells my mom that I'm just a different person.
Mm,
That like she's like, I don't know, I see her and I see that I know that Rocio says that she's doing well. She's like, but I just feel like that's not my sister. I don't even know her anymore. And instead
mm,
of saying like it's for a good thing, she thinks that I'm like negative. In my sense, what I caught from what you were saying is that your sister has already gone through the stage that you're going through, right?
mm-hmm,
Where she's being aware. Personally, when I say I don't get mad, it's not because I don't get mad. I do get frustrated at myself, but I understand what she means or I understand where she's coming from, where she hears your mom saying things, but doesn't really stop her and continues to talk to her. If I'm not wrong, what I caught from that was that she's aware that she's not going to be able to change your mom, and that all she can do is just be at peace with the fact that your mom's not going to change, and that in order for her to be able to have a relationship with your mom, she needs to just know in herself that your mom says things because that's part of her personality.
mm,
And I'm telling you because that's kind of what I accepted at one point. And then I was like, why am I supposed to accept my mom how she is? No, I'm going to set boundaries and I'm going to try to help her heal. Maybe at some point she tried that with your mom, or maybe she just realized that it took too much of her energy and that she still wanted to have her around and that she still wanted to have a relationship with you. Because overall, like
mm,
when you're very conscious, it's very lonely because you don't take bullshit, so you don't socialize. It's not that people don't want to talk to you. It's just that you don't social. Well, sometimes they don't
yeah.
because you're too honest. But I feel like she's already aware that your mom is stuck in a state of mind that it's not going to change, and that because for a while I did that, and that as long as it's not directed to her, she's just gonna listen to her, you know.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that she does miss you like crazy because I would message my sister angry and be like, "You're a fucking bitch." I just like random like, "You're a bitch." I hope you have a horrible day, you bitch. And my mom's like, "Why are you messaging your sister?" I'm like, "Well, because in case you forgot, in case you guys forgot I existed." But that was just yeah, that was just me wanting her to message me, to at
Yeah.
least care enough to say "fuck you, bitch." Um, do I miss her? Yes. Do I think that I'm gonna talk to her? I don't know. I've been dreaming a lot about her, so I thought it was funny that or
Mm,
ironic that you brought her up because last night I was dreaming. I don't know what her kid looks like. I'm not curious, and there isn't a part of me that wants to like. I love kids. I would feel more attached probably to your son, to your daughter, than I would over her kid
mm,
because I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like for me that is a my sister's already a symbol of where all my pain started. And then on top of that to put that too, it doesn't mean that I don't love her.
mhm.
It means that I love her, but I can love her from a distance and not mean her any harm.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to get to my mom to understand was that okay, mom, there's going to be a time where her and I are going to be able to be in the same room. But you need to understand, mom, that it doesn't mean that I have to give in to anything that she brings along with her. I was like, because I can acknowledge her, I can respect her, but we have different views. And until she doesn't give me my space or my, until she doesn't acknowledge that I'm not fucking crazy, and she doesn't acknowledge the role she played, because at this point she's not acknowledging anything. She thinks that I'm just too intense. For the longest time, my family thought that they didn't understand why my dad was an issue for me. Even my brother was like, "Yeah, Rocio, but like let it go." And that's the thing about me, that I've my whole life I've had to let it go. I've had to suck it up. I've had to shut up, and people don't know what it is to have my absence, and
Mm,
they're figuring out what it is to have my absence, and it's pretty quiet, and I feel like it's starting to resonate a lot more because my mom mentions things a lot more often. Um, and I think that's why she expresses herself that way, because she knows that she is wrong with what she's expressing. And that's mainly herself that feels that she thinks that I changed for the worse, that I'm not like the person that I was before. But yeah, I'm like, Mom, it's because I'm no longer being, like, I'm no longer available for her to use.
yeah, I'm no longer absorbing what you're continuously trying to give out, and nor am I transmuting it stronger for you.
Exactly. So you telling me this is like me seeing my little sister and the things that she says, because one time she told me, um, I think she wrote a letter or something. She said that, or she told my mom, she's like, they started living together, and she's like, Mom, I feel homesick. And she's like, why? I feel like I'm not safe because my sister's not here. And then she's like, but I'm your mom, dude. Like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah, but like, Rocio's my mom. She's like, that's my mom. Like, I feel like I'm betraying my mom. And then, like, my mom would cook for her, and she's like, this doesn't taste like Rocio's food. She's like, I'm gonna have to call Rocio and tell her to bring me food because you don't know how to cook, mom.
Hilarious.
But she hated me, right? So,
Mm,
it's like it's like hearing you say that, it kind of like shows what my mom has been telling me, like she says, well, sometimes your sister doesn't even know what she wants. She starts crying randomly, and then she starts cursing at you because you're like, why does she have to be so stupid, and she doesn't want to talk to me, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what, my sister's never had consequences,
mm,
and maybe this is her consequence. I'm like, I'm not saying that I'm cutting her off, but maybe this is the distance that we need. And maybe you, and changing yourself, right, or in the transformation that you're going through, her, obviously her comfort on certain things is bringing discomfort to you because you're not allowing them.
yeah.
So maybe it's good that you guys have that separation, to where you guys still have that relationship intact, because it hasn't been in a way where you guys have gotten in an argument. I hope not.
Mm-mm, yeah. At least
But you're
not
also
recently.
growing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're also growing, and she sees that you're growing, which is probably why she's not so resistant to the things that you're saying, because she has already been there. So she knows where that anger or that rage is coming from, of like, how are you accepting this?
Yeah.
I don't know, it could be a little bit of both, but that's why you meet the people that you meet, because it's like, I started to remind you of of your sister. You reminded me of my sister. um the numerology that came out, and how ironic it was, the nines and threes, how it started with nine, and nine is a new beginning, or pretty much pointing you to the life lessons you're supposed to take so that you can bring on or welcome these new things. And how every conversation we have kind of develops into another reason as to why things are happening the way that they're happening. I don't know if it's just me, but
No, I'm
that's
sorry.
that's how I see
I
it.
was trying to check out the time. I do have to head out, but
Oh yeah, me too.
no, I appreciate these conversations so much, and I hope you take it seriously when I say like there's there's something. I hope you continue with this because there's something I almost want to say like even to a level of alchemy wise that you output that literally just allows, at least for me, I hope I'm sure this happens to other people or else the conversation last night wouldn't have happened, right?
Exactly.
Um but like for me, I felt like it is so grounding, and it allows me to I feel like your sister, where I'm able to cut out all the feelings of like, what if a family member happens to see this? Like, what if somebody that I know sees this, and I'm talking about stuff that I've never even told them before? Um, like thoughts like that don't doesn't even bother me at this point. Like, because when I talk to you, it's like I feel like all that is stripped away, and it's like these are things that need to be said. If not
No, and
for
that's how
myself,
it should
then
be.
it's for somebody else, you know?
Hmm.
And I'm realizing more than not, I'm saying a lot of this because I need to hear it.
Exactly. You need to say it out loud and see how minimal it is if you think about it, or how much
Mm.
power you let it have by not speaking it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, honestly. Like, you guys, you have no idea. Like, the things that you say to me, the things that Q say to me, that Ashley, even the messages that I randomly get, it's like, this is why. Like, there, it's very. You can ask Linda. I'm like a little kid. Like, I'm talking about it all day long because it's like I call my mom and I'm like, "Ama, que no sabes qué? Remember,
Right.
Mama, you said I was good
Mm-hmm.
for nothing. Well, you haven't seen me." Yeah, sorry.
Right.
But it's very like it's very honestly. This is honestly all I want. I want you guys to feel, to be seen, to know that you're important, because a lot of times we make everything else important but ourselves, and it's enough of that. If we want things to change around us, we have to start with ourselves. So
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that you feel comfortable enough to share those things with me, especially if you've never talked about them, because those are like your personal things, your most darkest secrets or most safe things that you sometimes don't even share with like your significant other.
Mm.
And you need to say them. You need to own it.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day. And hopefully, if you don't come on later, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. But definitely, okay. I'm gonna
I
push some
gotcha.
buttons for you next time I got you.
Yes, yes. Because
Okay.
even if I'm not able to jump on the live on this type of engagement, I'll probably be in the chat.
Yeah, for sure. You let me know, and send me a message if you do decide to join in, or if you just want to listen up and everything. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. Be safe. Have a good day.
You too. You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining, for watching. I'm going to be joining in later to continue with this conversation about numerology, to continue about all the things that need to be said, because you know what, guys? It's about damn time. Okay? If you don't say them, then who the fuck's going to say it? You're over here complaining, but not acting, so let's get moving, guys. Come on. Get ready for the day. Start your morning if it's in the morning. If it's getting ready for the evening, then get ready to party because it's Saturday. Go get your twerking shoes ready, get your knees ready, your knee braces so you can go twerk around. And yeah, guys, I love you guys. Be safe. Don't forget to like, follow, share. And I am gonna give you guys once again the link for Discord so that you guys can join. Um, I think that's my YouTube. Yes. And this is my link for Discord so that you guys can join and share your stories, guys. There's no judgment. Everybody has different ideas. You just have to be willing to hear ideas that are different from yours. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you later. Be safe. If you guys have not showered, make sure you wash your butt, brush your teeth.